story happens all over again, but next time it is not just to make opal or potch, but to harden the two in the previous deposits. Water is the natural hardener for opal and potch. As opal potch hardens, the water film and water necks that are around the silica spheres are used like a superhighway. All the elements are removed from the outside of the silica spheres and repelled out through the water films and water necks to the outside of the opal/potch. When all of the water necks and water films have finished drying, all that is left are trace elements inside the gaps between the silica spheres. There are no elements around the silica sphere. All the elements will cloud the silica sphere and stop the light diffraction from happening, and you won't have colour. All the stable and unstable elements are on the outside of the opal/potch. The element hardens with the opal/potch. When the opal miners mine for opal, the opal potch that they find is washed in a tumbler. After the loose opal dirt is removed, what is left is a red or white fine skin that is hard to get off. The opal miners scrape this skin off with a knife. The reason it is so hard to get off is that the skin is made up of all the rare earth elements that have unstable isotopes and other elements. If you clean the opal potch with sodium metasilicate after 2 or 4 weeks, the fine skin falls away from the opal potch, and the underside of the skin that is attached to the opal potch has a silver metallic luster to it. This silver metallic lust is all the rare earth elements in their raw form. The multi-channel analyzer with an external power supply, up to 10 hours of continuous power supply. We went on a fact-finding mission to see if my theory was correct, and it was. You can detect opal. We met up with our guide in Andamooka, John Mundy. Back in the day, he was one of the first people to mine on the false level, where all the other miners were drilling and mining to the main level in Andamooka. For 7 days, he showed us around all the major fields, and we tested the detector out in all of them. We discovered that the background radiation is 10 counts per second, and the opal level gives off 10 to 48 counts per second. We went into a lot of old open cuts. We would have liked to go through the open mines, but the ground was too wet and muddy. We did not encounter any opal or potch in Andamooka. The reading on the detector did not go over 48 counts per second, but the opal detector picked up a lot of opal levels. We went to Coober Pedy and started at a field called Donner's Rush. We found out that the background radiation is 10 counts per second, and the opal level gives off 10 to 48 counts per second, like Andamooka. This is the only opal I found in Coober Pedy at Donner's Rush. It read 57 counts per second, 4 inches into the wall on a vertical. The opal detector pinpointed exactly where it was. We found 2 spots within 30 minutes of the detection where we found opal and potch traces that gave off 50 to 90 counts per second. The opal and potch were 4 inches into the wall. There were no more hits in this mine. We looked around for more mines in different fields but couldn't find any good open mines, and what was good was taken, pegged. So the only good ground that I went through was Donner's Rush. The opal detector did work. Without it, I would not have found the opal trace. The opal detector is so sensitive that it even finds paper-thin opal and potch traces. At Donner's Rush mined 4 inches into the wall, where we got our reading 57 counts per second. We have given the opal detector to Rod Manning in Groin to use in his 4 currently used mines and 1 retired mine. Rod will document his findings so we can finish my paper. We are thinking that solid opal and potch will be 100 to 300 counts per second, and the opal detector should go no deeper than a metre into the wall. This will have to be confirmed by Rod Manning with his findings. The larger the mass, the more radiation is given off. Also, radiation follows the path of least resistance. So if you have a mine that has a large mass of opal or potch, a metre into the wall with the mine being 30 feet underground, then the radiation will come out of the wall opposed the top of the ground in the field. Opal potch is not the only thing that gives off decaying radiation in the Cretaceous era. Fossils also give off decaying radiation. A Geiger counter with a mulling tube is not fine enough to detect the difference between opal-bearing dirt and the opal potch. Also, the mulling tube has a time delay of a few seconds. The device to use is a multi-channel analyzer with a sodium iodine crystal scintillator and a photomultiplier. A multi-channel analyzer detects in real time and also tells you what element it is detecting. Unfortunately, it does not have a large library of elements inside its program. The unstable elements that are abundant in opal are rubidium at 11.92 parts per million to 27.15 parts per million, zirconium at 15.42 parts per million to 177.42 parts per million, strontium at 43.60 parts per million to 187.42 parts per million, 184.97 parts per million, barium at 63.83 parts per million to 301.94 parts per million, potassium at 607.00 parts per million to 3,261.00 parts per million. Remember, they are only trace elements and do not give off decaying radiation in the opal itself. Only the outside skin around the opal has the full unstable elements in it that give off decaying radiation. All the content has been independently researched by Gerard Faber, and only facts are used. None of the content has been used or gathered from any other opal literature. We would like to give credit to the following people: John Mundy for showing me around Andamooka opal fields, also sharing his knowledge with me about Andamooka, and Darryl MacPhail for sharing his knowledge with me about Andamooka and Coober Pedy. The collective wealth of knowledge that these two people accumulated about opal is around 120 years, which was extremely valuable and insightful to me. Rod Manning for taking the time out to test the opal detector in all of his mines and sharing his findings with me. Wayne Mundy for his generosity in providing me with free accommodation in Andamooka. Andrew Faber for building the opal detector. I will update this presentation when Rod Manning has finished with his findings and pass them on to you.